じゃあ本が欲しいです。じゃあ61ページですね。はい。じゃあジョーさんから始めましょう。
sorry, the example or just one?
はい。
本が欲しいです。マフラー、
いや、マフラー。
マフラーが欲しくないです。
はい。
Oh,
は
I
い
get it.
フロリダですから。
でも、
はい。でも今日は
今日は
欲しいですね。じゃあ1番、さんどうぞ。
お金が欲しいです。
はい。
スウェッターが欲しいです。
あ、でも×がありますから。
Oh, I don't want it?
欲しくない。
Okay. スウェッターが欲しくないです。
はい。普通はセーターと言います。セーター。
Oh,
セーター。
セーター。
はい、セーター。
Because I keep thinking
One of the many pronunciations of words that carry over that don't make any sense.
Yeah,
Like
I'm not
we
sure.
need to wait. What? You mean you just pronounce it by it? But okay.
Yeah.
So,
I don't understand that.
Yeah.
セーター
セーターが
が欲しくないです。
はい、セーターが欲しくないです。
天
はい
気は暖かいです。
ああ、天気が暖かいですから。はい、いいですね。じゃあ3番、セスさん。
コンピューターが欲しくないです。
はい、
let's see. I don't know how to say this.
何？もうありますから。
Did you say already?
も
Oh, yeah. Own? Was it for
もうあります。いや、
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, もうありますから。
はい、いいですね。じゃあ4番、ジョーさん。
モートバイクが欲しいです。
はい。じゃあ5番。
Oh, I forgot.
ぬいぐるみでしょ。
ぬいぐるみ
ぬいぐるみ。
ぬいぐるみが欲しくないです。
欲しくないですね。ぬいぐるみ。はい。ぬいぐるみ。ぬい is from 縫います which is like to sew something. And ぐるみ is
Right here.
ぬいぐるみ。新しい単語ですね。ぬいぐるみです。
ぬいぐる
You
み。
forgot katakana te.
I did. No,
ああ。ぬいぐるみ
テニス
ですね。あ、じゃあパート B かな。じゃあぬいぐるみが欲しくないですね。じゃあエリさん、エグザンプルを読んでください。
Oh, okay.
はい。
子供の時、本が欲しかったです。子供の時、マフラーが欲しくなかったです。
はい。じゃあ全部過去形にしますね。じゃあ1番セス。
B or
1番。
she did the example.
B の1番。
はい。子供の時、コンピューターが欲しくなかった。
欲しかった。
欲しかったです。
はい。子供の時、テレビゲームが欲しかったです。ね。でしょ？テレビゲームでしょ？
テレビゲーム。
ゲームのコントロールがありますから。
Yeah.
ゲームのコントロール
I
が。
didn't realize that was a.
はい。テレビゲームが欲しかったですね。じゃあ2番。
子供の時、指輪が欲しくないです。
そうですね。じゃあ3番。さん。
子供の時が欲しくなかったです。
欲しくなかったです。
欲しくなかったです。
はい。
子供の時、おもちゃが欲しかったです。
はい、そうですね。じゃあ5番。
何これ。
七夕。
七夕。
はい、七夕。七夕です。
子供の時、七夕が。
ちょっと待って。I'm looking to see which vocabulary they're teaching actually.
どこ？
花
単語だ。
束？ 花が欲しくなかった。You can just use 花.
That,
There's more than one word for bouquet of flowers, but for now they don't seem to be teaching you bouquet, so let's just go with hana.
for that one, when we get
Yeah.
to it. Okay. Where are we finding this one? The one I'm doing.
They don't seem to be
Hana.
teaching hana either, but
Yeah, I
hana
thought
should be
they-
review,
I
right?
thought
No,
Hana
yeah,
was
Hana's
in like
review.
the other chapter.
Yeah, hana should be review, so you can just say hana ga
Is it in 13? Oh.
覚えてません
Oh, they
ね
got that country.
Oh, wait. Oh.
What? What?
hana 漢字あったかもしれない覚えてませんね
I know you didn't.
Did we?
No, you
I swear we did.
I don't.
Hana.
Why do I know it?
I think
花
we learned it like supplementary.
Because that's.
I'm not supposed to know things.
I'm not.
どうして
I have to like hold myself from saying something mean. No, it's not on 13. You're
Hana.
wrong.
12課12課の会話の単語でした
It was in 12?
12課はい
Yeah, that's what I said.
12課
See? I do know it.
はい花12課復習の単語です花が花
What? Tanabata. What?
あ
What is
こ
that?
れ花お花
Or
これは
this
お
one?
もちゃ
おもちゃ
She did おもちゃ
Oh, she did that one. Okay. My
Right.
bad. I didn't see that one anywhere. That's why I was like, what is that?
おもちゃ
Uh,
Just
Was-
toys.
That was
Oh.
chapter 11.
ああ OK
okay.
いいですね
子供の時、花だけ。花。
花
Okay. 花が欲しくなかったです。
はい、欲しくなかったですね。この時、花が欲しくなかった。はい、じゃあ、パート C。
Oh, we're just asking if like. you
じゃあ
know.
パートナーになんとかが欲しかったですか聞きますね。じゃあ、セス君、example のパート A を読んでください。この例の A を読んでください。ジョーさんは B の答えを読んでください。
子供の時、本が欲しかったですか？
いえ、欲しくなかったです。
はい
どうして
どうしてどうしてでしょうね。
そう
読むのが好きでしたか？
読むが下手です。そうそう
ああ、読むのが下手でした。なるほど。
そうか。
はい、じゃあ、ジョーさん、どうぞ。
サンドリーさん。子供の時、テレビゲームが欲しかったですか？
はい。欲しかった。
どうして？
楽しかった。
うん、楽しかったから。
楽しかったから。
はい、なるほど。じゃあ、サンドさんとエリさんどうぞ。
エリさん、
Hmm?
子供の時、帽子が欲しかったですか？帽子が
いいえ、帽子
欲しかった
が
ですか？
欲しくなかった。
どうしてどうして
かっこよくない。
そうか。
面白い。変な質問ですね。
I thought we were going by this, but.
スタンドさんはいつもクリエイティブですね。
でも
Okay.
寒い
子供の
天
あ、そうですね。
気。外だ。
寒い日は
子供の時、漫画が欲しかったですか？
いえ、漫画が欲しかったです。欲しくなかったです。
どうして
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 説明しましょう。
読めない読めないですか？
読まなかったです。
読めなかったですか？
Let's see. how to, I don't know, I haven't reviewed this in so long. I don't know how to combine, like, verb don't like together.
Okay.
Yomu,
No ga,
Kirai.
no ga.
Okay, 読むのが嫌いだった or 好きじゃなかった。
読むのが、読むのが、
読むのが、はい。
のが、
好きじゃなかった。
好きじゃない、好きじゃなかったです。
Okay.
or
Yeah. 好きじゃなかったです。
はい、いいです
ですから
ね。はい、いいですね。じゃあ、他に質問聞きたいですか？ Do you guys want to do more of part C before we move on?
Can you add verbs to this? Or is this a verb by itself? Can you be like 食べほしい or something like that?
食べたい。
Like, I guess that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But
You remember the type
yeah,
one?
I was
So,
just wondering if you could do with that too. I guess.
no, 欲しい
It's just by itself.
technically is an E adjective.
Is it like for nouns only?
You can do it with nouns and you can do it with nominalized verb phrases. So, for example, 食べるのが好きじゃない, right? 食べるのが欲しくない. But it sounds weird
Oh.
because 食べたい and 食べたくない exist. So why would you bother, right? So in the sense that it's possible to create that, yes, it's possible.
Okay.
But why? Because you can go back to
どうして
食べたい、
That's the question.
食べたくない, right?
That's it.
Yeah. So normally, if it's a verb that you're expressing wanting to do or not do, you would use the type one. Okay? If it's talking about wanting a thing, wanting a noun, then you use 欲しい. Usually you don't combine the two because when does that ever come up? Right? I mean, you
Really want
either you want a thing or you want to do something.
I remember last semester, I was talking to someone at Talk, and they said that had, like, it was oshiete, hoshi.
Right.
So it's like, I want you to teach kind of thing?
Okay,
Like using like
教えてほ
table.
しい. Yeah. That's somewhere between I want you to teach me and I need you to teach me. Yeah. So that's a good example of, like, you can put a TED form with hoshi and it's somewhere between a demand and a request. It's not
So like
quite a
half demanded.
demand, but it's closer to I need you to
It's like a nudge. like-
instead of just please. So 教えてください is please teach me. 教えてほしいです is a little bit more like I need you to teach me this.
Does that like have more of like a connotation of like I need help and I hope
Yeah.
that you'll be the one to do it kind of thing?
Yeah, it's close to that. Yeah, 手伝ってほしい, 教えてほしい. Yeah. So yeah, so that's a good example of what is possible. Yeah, rather than what was coming up before. So yeah. So there you go. いいですね. Okay, so do you guys want to practice more of part C or are you ready to move on to D?
Ready for D.
じゃあ
I just have a question
Hi.
about D. It's like in the old book they would put like no hoga and then
はい
and first and then the yori. So I was wondering.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
You can use both ways.
Well, okay.
Actually,
More
according
common
to
than the way it
some
helps.
native speakers I've asked, the yodi phrase coming before nahoga is actually a more natural construction, and they were confused as to why nahoga was taught as the first segment of the sentence
actually have
in the
really-
old book.
Like just fine print at the bottom of that chapter that explained that, but
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
read it until later.
Yeah, so just like so many other places in Japanese grammar where as long as the unit moves as a piece, the order can change. It's kind of the same thing with the noun yori and noun nohoga phrase segments. You can swap their locations without really affecting the meaning as long as you're not getting things confused and putting the wrong verb or the wrong noun rather in the wrong slot. You know, so if you're saying,
Subtract from both.
if you're saying, for example, 映画より本の方が好きでした. you're saying that you liked the book better than the movie, right? If you swap the nouns and leave everything else in place, obviously you're changing the whole meaning of the sentence. But if you take that eiga yori and put it in a different spot, it's just changing the order of your A and your B without changing the sentence meanings. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So, 映画より本の方が好きだった。I liked the book better than the movie. Or 本の方が映画より好きだった。You're still saying you like the book better than the movie. Right?
はい。
So, いい？じゃあ、but as far as why, I'm not sure why they taught it in the other order in the first place when the yodi coming first seems to be the more natural construction for most native speakers most of the time.
Probably like the traditional way or something like that.
Maybe.
Like they do like just throw in all these random things that are kind of important and they just kind of throw them down here
Where no
In
one
those-
looks.
where no one ever looks. Like
Right, the
I didn't
book
even know that
footnotes.
stuff was there until like chapter 12.
Yeah, so yeah, it's probably a good idea to go back and revisit all your footnotes.
Like stuff that you could put an entire lesson behind that they just threw in like
Yeah.
a footnote.
Yeah, I think sometimes they're doing that because they feel like it might be too much information for beginners at that point in their progress. But it's information that they want to have in there for the sake of more advanced students or students who are, reviewing or whatever, and they're ready for the information at that point. Anyway, じゃあ次やりましょう。Let's do part D then.
Mhm.
はい。じゃあ、let's have SessanとJoe-san do A and B reading the examples again.
私は
A です。はい。お
あ
願いします。
車とパンコン。
パソコン。
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was like, that is personal computer. But
はい。
パソコンとどちらが欲しいですか？
車よりパソコンの方が欲しいです。
うん。どうしてですか？
車が運転できませんか？
面白いですね。じゃあ、車があってもあんまり使えないね。じゃあ、ジョーさん、1番、サヌさんと一緒に。
コンサートのチケット
チケット。
と映画の DVD どちらが欲しいですか？
映画の I don't want that. I'm sorry. コンサートのチケットより映画の DVD の方が欲しいです。
どうでしたか？
どうして
どうしてですか？
コンサートが面白いと思います。
But you just said you didn't want that.
Wait, I said that?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm backwards. Okay, hold up. 映画の DVD よりコンサートのチケット方がいい。
が欲しい。
が欲しいです。
どうしてですか？
コンサートは面白いと思います。
面白いと思います。はい。いいですね。
See, now it's just the order. I got it.
Yeah,
It's still
you
bad.
gotta remember that the yodi and the
Yodi.
nohoga are the parts that really give it meaning. The order
Yeah.
doesn't have that much to do with the meaning. It's which is attached to yodi, which is attached to nohoga. So whichever one is attached to nohoga, that's the one you're saying is more
No, hold on.
whatever the adjective is. More
What is-
preferred, more wanted, more liked, more whatever adjective you're using.
Does that mean something by itself, Hoga? Because it's like used different places as well, like
Yeah.
Hogai or Hoga.
Whole by itself is like side, as in taking sides. It's that kind of a
That's deep.
meaning.
That's deep.
So
That's
you're
usually the content
saying,
side.
of the choices being given, I would prefer this choice versus that.
That's Hogai's.
Yeah. And the yori also gets used in other contexts that might help you understand what it means. Think about tegami o kaku toki. Okaasan e da 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 Mary yori, from Mary.
Okay.
So I don't know if that helps at all, but it's like compared to X, I would prefer to have Y. That's what the X yori Y no hou ga hoshii desu is basically giving you. Make sense?じゃあ2番、サンさんとエリさんどうぞ。
エリちゃん、小さい家と大きいマンション、どちら方が欲しいです。
どちらが
どちらが欲しいですか。
か。
小さい家より大きいマンションの方が欲しいです。
どうして
そう
ですか。
そういうするのが好きじゃないです。
Okay, but you just said you'd rather have the big apartment rather than the small
Oh, I
house.
did?
Yeah, yeah, you're used to the same thing.
Wait, so what did I say? I
Yeah.
forgot.
Okay, so you
But I-
said 小さい家より大きいマンションの方が欲しいです. So you said you'd rather have the 大きいマンション. And everybody knows that マンション does not mean mansion, right?
No, I didn't.
No,
Okay.
I assumed it was Mexican.
マンション actually means
Multi.
apartment, flat.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's,
What's the word for mansion?
Mansion.
I'm not sure they have one in Japan.
Okay, so it's 大きいマンションより小さい家の方が欲しいです。
Right. So you're preferring a small,
Yeah.
single-family home
So-
versus a large apartment.
Yeah, そういうする
Even
の
in that
が
context, it's like big
好
mansion.
きじゃない
Like
で
that
す
makes
か。
sense.
Yeah.
Mansion.
Yeah, well, mansion just means an apartment like in a high-rise. And it's very common in Japan to live in what they call a mansion. And sometimes they are more square footage than some of the houses. You know, but it depends on where you are. I mean, you could, you know, in the middle of downtown Tokyo, you could be paying mansion kinds of prices, American mansion kinds of prices, for a mansion that would fit inside of half of this classroom. Yeah, the cost of living is astronomical.
Do a lot of like Japanese live with their parents?
Until
'Cause
they're
I-
married, it's
Because
very
I heard
common.
about, I heard that with like Korean people.
Yeah. In Japan, it's very common for single people to still live with their parents if their job allows them to still live at home, if they're working and living in a place that's within commuting distance of their parents' house. It's also very common for the eldest son, or if they're only daughters, the eldest daughter, to continue living with the parents after marriage, for the spouse and kids to be in a three-generation household. You know, so I knew families where, especially out in the countryside, where houses are bigger and land is taken up with farming and there's not much available for building a new house. There are a lot of families where it was like the grandparents, the oldest daughter and her husband, and their 3 teenagers, or, you know, the grandparents, the father's mother, the grandfather's mother, his oldest son, the spouse, their little kids, and the younger son who was still single, all in one household.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it was 4 generations with 2 brothers living at home, an older brother and who was married and had 3 kids, and a younger brother who was still single, all living at home. And grandma had her own little apartment that was the converted garage, but she was in the main house most of the time.
I have an off-topic question.
Okay.
How would you say that you know how to or don't, well, I mean, how would you say you know how to tell time or to tell time in Japanese? Would you say like you read time or
To know.
or to know? Yeah.
No, I'm not really sure. That expression has never come up for me.
I just thought of that. I said I wanted to.
I
watch
guess
when I was
you
a kid.
you could probably say toke ga yomeru, I can read a clock,
Okay.
but I've never heard the expression able to tell time, so I'm not really sure. That's one of those things that, you know, unless you've got a little kid who's learning it, it's not something that comes up in conversation all that often, is it?
It'd be awkward, like, all right, hey, you gotta read a clock.
Yeah, yeah, toke ga yomemasu ka? Although I've met some
Exactly.
pretty big kids these days who have a hard time with an analog clock. It's kind of scary.
Kids and their technology.
Yeah, yeah. I still can't get over the fact that I had a 9th grader once who didn't know the months of the year in English.
I had to teach somebody that was my age what
Yeah.
on your 6 meant.
On your,
Yeah.
that is more understandable to me than not knowing that September is the 9th month.
Oh yeah, but I just meant like by telling times.
Wait, like
I told
an
like
American
people in
kid?
the military use that as like
Yeah.
directional.
What?
An American kid didn't know. the
Yeah. 9th grader. He couldn't, he didn't, like, he didn't know how to do like the number, the digits for the months, because he didn't remember the months in proper order, so he
Oh,
didn't
no.
know, like, September was the 9th month, so when we were
That's a great
learning
mnemonic, too.
the concept in Japanese, it's just ichigatsu, nigatsu, sangatsu and all that, and he's like, yeah, but I don't know the months in order. What?
Like, you know,
Then
that
the
was
September
like
is
first
7th.
grade.
Yeah, well, it should be, but, yeah. The-
But you have
Augustus
to state on
and-
your papers, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess he was always just writing out what month it was, because he didn't know the number for it.
That's
Yeah,
like-
everybody else with like numbers and slashes, and this guy just
January.
writes like the whole month.
Yeah, I don't understand how somebody gets to all the way to the 9th grade and doesn't know the months in order.
Your son
My
will
5-year-old knows the months in order.
God.
Not a dumb kid, just never learned that for some reason.
Dismiss that one.
彼女と
They were.
Okay, じゃあ、so we figured out 大きいマンションより小さい家の方が欲しいですね。掃除が嫌いですから。ね。じゃあ、3番。
彼女といい友達どちらが欲しいですか？
いい友達が欲しいです。
どうして？
いい友達がありません。ありませんから。
いません。いません。
今
いません。Okay.
Yeah,
Then why
so-
you want one if you already have one?
No, he's saying he doesn't.
Yeah,
Oh, you
because he
said-
doesn't.
That's sad.
I also noticed people have been leaving out the second to.
Oh,
Ka- 彼女と
okay.
いい友達と
Yeah.
どちらが欲しいですか？
彼女
Oh,
と
yeah.
いい友達とどちらが
Oh,
欲しいですか？
みんなで友達になりましょ
はい、いいですね。はい、じゃあ4番どうぞ。
う。
No.
Yeah, it says
猫と犬とどちらが欲しいですか？
猫より 犬の方が欲しいです。
どうして
どう
ですか？
してですか？
犬が一番好きです。
私もお嬢さん。
私も犬が好きです。
What's the best? Nickel.
Dogs like when you
I
when you
had-
come home. Cats just like, eh.
Yeah, I love my dog.
Agreed.
Can you say that in Japanese?
Eh? Or
犬が
Oh.
うちに
犬が
帰るとき、犬が好きです。or 犬が嬉しいで
oh,
す。
おい
Yeah.
at
猫
first
は
they said like say eh. I was like,
No.
oh, you think?
猫があまり好きでも嫌いでもない。
How do you say always in?
はい、
いつも。
いつも
いつも。
Like 犬がいつも幸せ
ですね。
ですね。
そうですね。幸せ。
そう
幸せですね。
Honestly, I used to think the same exact thing until I got these two cats. They act like dogs. It's pretty awesome.
Are they
Act like dogs. You haven't spent enough time.
Like this morning, my dog usually gets up with me this morning, but it was so early, she just stayed in bed.
おー、かわいい。じゃあ、もっと練習しましょう。Also, these kinds of asides, these kinds of jokes, I want to encourage you guys to try to put more and more of it into Japanese this semester.
Okay.
いいですか？
うん
はい。じゃあ、ジョーさん、5番どうぞ。
時間とお金とどちらが欲しいですか？
あ、お金より時間方が欲しいです。
時間の方が。
時間の方が欲しいです。
どうしてですか？
ああ Oh, I can't. This was a deep
Yeah, it's
question.
too
This is a deep
philosophical.
question.
Oh, I have one. I have a crazy like okane. No, never mind.
お金が好きじゃない。うん。
Oh, no, I think I got like it's like okane ga arusuki sukite. I'm just saying like
say that.
I have too much money, so
Arisugi.
I need time. I
あは
guess.
そうですか。
How do you say like
Arusuki.
something makes something, or something is the reason for something becoming something?
Give me some now.
got it. お金から意地悪な人になる or something like that.
お金のせいで、
お金のせいで
False.
you'll be a
いや、お金のせいで意地悪な人になります。あ
Yes.
そうですか。はい。Yeah, there's のせいで and のためで and のおかげで and there are three different kinds of connotations. のせいで has a negative connotation. So because of something else happens. お金のせいで意地悪になる。
What was the other one?
ため。
のために
ためせ and
and おかげで。
okay.
Yeah, おかげで is like thanks to such and such, and it's very polite and very positive connotation. Because of your help, I succeeded. That kind of an expression, and then ために is more neutral. You know, like 息子のためにこれを買います。I'm buying this for my son to give to him. You know, but it doesn't have a strong connotation of me benefiting from it or losing by it, either one.
It's like for the sake of, so you can
Yeah,
use it
for
for
the
like
sake
a
of,
person
yeah.
or like you're doing it for a reason or something
Right,
like that.
yeah, so, お腹が空いてるために今食べます。I'm hungry, therefore I'm gonna eat something, you know, it can be very neutral, ため. But, yeah, のせいで is definitely a negative connotation. お金のせいで、意地悪な人になっちゃった。He became a nasty person because he had too much money. Yeah, that kind of thing.
I have
Or,
one more question
Okay.
about that. Like another thing you could say is like money doesn't buy happiness. How do you
Right.
say happiness in like a noun form?
幸せ。
幸 Shiawase, so
幸せ
okane ga
しわ、いや、お金は、お
幸
金で
okane
幸
幸せが買えません。
買えま
いや、お金で幸せが買えません
They
ね。
use that expression?
I don't know if that's necessarily an idiom, but I think you can say it. There's probably a different idiom that means something along the lines of money can't buy happiness. I think most cultures have some variation on that concept, but I don't know the idiom offhand. There probably is like a more like set expression that conveys that meaning. Most cultures seem to have some sort of proverb or expression for a concept like that, but I don't know it offhand in Japanese. Those sorts of set expressions in Japanese tend to be in fairly archaic language, and they tend to reference some sort of well-known story or
Story.
folk tale that
Oh, that
all
sounds-
Japanese kids have learned, kind of like
That has
Aesop's
to be
fables, you know. If somebody says something about sour grapes, you probably know what they mean by that, even if you haven't read the story Aesop's fable version, low-hanging fruit. Those are expressions that most Americans understand, but they come from that story of, the grapes that are hanging too high and the fox can't reach them, so he says, oh, they're probably sour anyway. But there's stories like that, like Nikkabozu is an expression in Japanese for somebody, it's literally 3-day monk. Nikkabozu. Bozu is like a Buddhist monk. But 3-day monk means somebody who can't stick to anything. Because there's a story about somebody who, he tried this and only did it for 3 days. He tried that and only did it for 3 days. He tried being a monk, he only stuck with it for 3 days.
What was that?
Nikkabozu. So that's an expression for somebody who just doesn't have any gaman, he doesn't have any persistence to just stick with something when it gets hard and keep going even though it's getting challenging. So there are a lot of expressions like that in Japanese, but they tend to have that kind of a fable connection. So if you don't know the story behind it, it might not make a whole lot of sense when you hear somebody use an expression like that. If somebody calls you Nikkabozu because you just quit something, you might not have any idea why they're calling you Nikkabozu unless you know the story.
You might yoji ga aru.
Yeah, right.
喧嘩しましょう。
はい、じゃあ時間とお金いいですね。じゃあパート E やってみましょうか。
It's 12:55.
Oh, is it? Okay. Do you need to be getting going? We've still got a few more minutes.
Yeah.
じゃあパート E じゃあエリさんからどうぞ。次の人に誕生日と何が欲しいか。
Who am I asking?
Setsu.
Oh, it's my turn.
はい。
Okay. What was your name?
Ses.
じゃあそうですね。自己紹介やりましょうか。自己紹介わかりますか？自己紹介。
Introductions?
はい、self intro
あ
やってみましょうか。
ー私はサンドリンです。始めましょう。
はじめまして。
始めまして。
上等します。はじめまして。
はい。
よろしく。
Ellie
と申します。
と申します。はじめまして。
はじめまして。Ses.
Ses です。はい。
Ses.
Yeah, unfortunately the TH sound doesn't convey well in
So-
Japanese, so it comes out sesu.
Sesu. Okay.
Yeah. はい。
Okay.
That's one of those.
セスさんは誕生日はいつですか？
誕生日は
ああ、デートの発音は大変ですね。
I have easy dates.
何月
何月何日
に
しばらくです。
見ようか。
If you don't remember, say it in English and we'll help you convert it.
Is it just getsu after the
Gatsu.
gatsu? Yeah, so
It's getsu once it comes.
12月、はい。
12月
私も。
面白い。
16日。
日。
あ、16日。あ、
15日。
うちの息子より3日前。うちの息子は12月19日。19日。あ、
何歳ですか？
今5歳です。はい、うちの息子は12月19日の誕生日です。セス君は12月16日。
Oh, wait, no, mine's 11月。
あ、12月。
I knew that too.
Why didn't you say anything?
It was in Japanese. I didn't think of that.
じゃあ、もっと日本語を話しましょうね。
Speaking
も
of
っと
which,
もっと。
はい。
もう一度名前は。
サンドリン、サンプリン。
Okay, I was like, you said it, I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I'm like, how am I supposed to know what that translates to? Carryover names are very weird.
はい。
I like mine.
ジョー。
ジョー。
Me too.
ジョーは簡単ですね。はい。エリーさんもいい簡単な名前ですね。日本語の名前
I
は
don't think so.
言いにくい。言いやすいです。エリーです。
And I have a hard time pronouncing my name.
韓国
あ、いいえ。
大
大変。エリーは、from Eleanor, right?
変。Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
アメリカ人です。
hey.
はい。じゃあ、じゃあ、質問は、誕生日はいつですか？そして何が欲しいですか？
Oh, so I said, 何が欲しいですか？
希望です。
希望。
希望 is a wish, a hope.
Oh.
Yeah.
How do you ask what would you wish for?
He just wants
Oh,
hope,
just once.
I think.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you meant?
Nice.
希望。
That sounds a little sad.
寂しいですか？じゃあ、セウス君、ジョーさんに聞いてください。
あなたの誕生日はいつですか？
6月
6月。
6月
Oh, it's the fun one.
It's the one I can't remember.
21日。
Oh, it's 21日
21日。
21日、
うん
21?
です
はい、21日。言うのは楽しいですか？はい。じゃあ、どうぞ。21日ですね。
誕生日の何が欲しいですか？
誕生日に何が欲しいですか？
知りません。
まだわからないね。
ギターが欲しいです。
あ、そうですか。
高いですね。
What?
ギターが欲しいですね。ギター。
Oh, guitar. Guitar.
ギター。じゃあ、どうさんに聞いて。
もうギターがあります。You already have a guitar.
I can use more.
もう一つ欲しいです。
誕生日はいつですか？
7月。
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 はい。
24日。
あ、
That's
24日ですか？
that's 24, right?
はい。
Yeah,
はい。
that's me.
7月24日ですね。いいですね。
何が欲しいですか？
そうですか。
I love pens.
あ、そうですか。ペンが大好きですか？どうして？
楽しいかな。
そうですか。
いえ。
書くのが好きですか？
はあ。おお。
ああ。
Fancy.
うん高いペンが好きですか？
はい。高いペンが好きです。
はい、なるほど。はい、じゃあどうぞエリさんに聞いて。
エリさん、誕生日はいつですか
11月15日です。
ああ、そうか。何が欲しいですか
牛肉、海と食べ物が欲しいです。
もう一度。
ぬいぐるみと
あ、ぬいぐるみ。はい。
食べ物が欲しい。
あ、そうですか。なるほど。ぬいぐるみと食べ物。いいですか。
ぬいぐるみ。
ぬいぐるみ。
Stuffed
Stuffed animal. ぬいぐ
Oh,
るみ。
right.
Yeah, that was one of our new vocab. ぬいぐるみ。
I learned that one today. I actually misread it. I thought it was meigurumi, so I was so confused. But it was nuigurumi because
はい、ぬいぐるみ。
a little loopy.
Yeah, I got it wrong because it's on my paper.
はは
At the first.
ぬいぐるみが欲しいですか。はい。じゃあ時間はどうですか。
そう
103.
1時3
はい
分。
じゃあ15分までやりましょうか。Until quarter after. Make it an hour and 15 like a regular class.
Sure.
いいですか。じゃあ Okay, now that, we didn't think about this part.
What part?
This is the continuation of part E. They want you to fill in.
Oh,
Well, we're just gonna have to remember what we all said. So,
I remember.
I remember what I said.
Okay. So the idea is most of you. So you're supposed to talk about somebody else.
It's already whoever's birthday is
Yeah.
gonna say.
Yeah.
Okay.
So who's got the soonest birthday? Joel-san でしょ?
はい。父さん。
じゃあ two people other than Joe get to
Okay.
make conversation about.
もうすぐジョーさんの誕生日ですよ。
そうですか。じゃあ何がプレゼントを買いましょうか。何がいいと思いますか。
そうですね。ギターはどうですか。ジョーさんはギターが欲しいと言っていましたから。
いいですね。そうしましょう。
いいですね。
Yeah, I was gonna get that Hello Kitty stuff there. I mean, we can actually get it.
Is that really what they call it?
Kitty-chan. I think so.
It is. Kitty-chan.
Kitty-chan.
Ew. Very well.
Like, could we say like something like ギターが買えますか Can we? No.
ギターが買えますか?
Are
So-
we able to
Yeah.
buy
Yeah.
him a guitar?
Yeah, you could say something like that. 高いでしょうね。
Yeah.
高すぎたらどうしますか?
Mm.
If it's too expensive, what are you going to do?
How do you say toy? Like
おもちゃ。
おもちゃギターを買いましょう。
おもちゃのギター。
おもちゃのギター。
Yeah, when you've got a noun modifying another noun, you put no in
That was so
between,
10
right?
chapters ago.
Yeah. おもちゃのギターを買いますか?
はい。
Specifications.
あな
ジョーさんは
たは
それが好きですか?
あなたはケチな人です。
What did you just call me? Did you
ケチ
just。call me stingy or something?
はい。
ケチな人。
ケチな人。ギターが買えなかったら、if you can't buy a guitar,
買えな
ギターの紐とかギターのものを買ったら、
Accessories, right?
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, guitar no himo. Himo would be the strings.
Yeah. Oh, himo.
Yeah.
Oh.
You always need new guitar strings, right?
I was
They're
gonna
always
get a
breaking,
strap.
so. Yeah.
Shred.
アクセサリーもいいですね。Yeah.
That's how you say it in Japanese?
Hi.
Accessory.
Accessory.
アクセサリー。ね
Accessory.
アクセサリー。はい。
いいですね。
じゃあ次、サイス君とジョー君、サヌンさんについて話してみましょう。
興味ある
What is it? Kawadaman? I don't know how do you say this. No, it's not that.
どっちでもいいです。
Oh.
Either one is fine.
Never mind, I can't remember how to say it, I don't care. Anyway, Dodemoi. Go ahead.
どっちでもいい。Yeah, that works.
I'll choose for you guys can't decide.
ジョーさんどうぞ。
どうぞどうぞ。
もうすぐサンデルさんの誕生日ですよ。
Okay then. Alright. So desu ka? Do I just repeat it?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
just use that.
Alright. We're still focusing on buying something?
Yeah.
This would be a good OPM.
Yeah.
What is that at the bottom?
じゃあ何か。
Hoshigattaimasu.
You're still on the first.
Yeah, I know.
beat,
I'm just
yeah.
trying to figure out why, because he used iteimasu.
何が
before.
欲しいと言ってましたか
Oh,
or
that's
何
like
を
another way of
欲し
saying
がっ
it.
ています。
Oh, so it doesn't really matter. Okay.
Yeah,
It's explaining
Yeah.
the grammar part.
Okay.
yeah. There are
Because,
two
like,
alternate ways to say
Because
it.
you're saying that like that you understand that.
Yeah, so blank と言ってました。He said he wanted blank versus 欲しがっている is he seems to be wanting,
Okay.
basically.
Okay. So can you run the first line by me one more time so we can...
もうすぐサンデルさんの誕生日ですよ。
そうですか。じゃあ、何がプレゼントを買いましょうか。何がいいと言いますか。
と思います。
I'm sorry. I'm really tired.
そうですね。キティちゃんのペンはどうですか？
I might actually have one of those right now.
セノさんはキティちゃんが大好きと思いますから。
大好きだと思います。
I said Joe knows me so
Sensei
well.
Asarashi Kiki-chan no pen.
ああ、そうですね。新しいキティちゃんのペン。
It is starting to fade.
そう新しいキティちゃんのペンが欲しいと思いましたから。
欲しいと言っていましたから、
と言っていました
or が欲しがっ or を欲しがっています。You lost or
No, I'm just... Okay.
I'm trying to take it all in.
yeah.
Okay, so いいですね。そうしましょう。
はい
Okay.
はい。面白いですね。
サンダルさんの誕生日、もう一度、いつは？いつですか
7月24日。
24日ですね。
24日
はい。
7月24日。
7月
Sensei.
Ne?
Next
No, I'm not confused about that. I'm thinking about something else.
はい。
Sensei,
Hi.
next time can we like do the sensei and the student thing?
Hi, yes, I wanted to kind of warm us up a little bit first, but yeah, starting next class, we can do that. Hi.
Which is what?
Yeah, let me explain first that. What we did is I had little cards that I just wrote up. That one said sensei, the others say gakusei. And the idea is whichever one you get that class, you spend the whole class in that politeness mode. So like if you're the sensei, you get to speak casually to everybody. but people who are addressing you have to use formal language. And people who have gakusei, when they're addressing each other, they can use casual, but when they're addressing the person who's got sensei, they have to use formal. And so it forces you to switch back and forth between casual and formal if you've got the gakusei tag, and if you've got the sensei tag, it forces you to use casual the whole time, which a lot of people need more practice with. And the sensei tag rotates by one person every class, so that way, whatever we're working on that day, you're changing up whether you're using only casual speech or switching between casual and formal. The other thing that we could do to change it up a little bit more is have two sensei tags and two gakusei tags, so that if you're, as a sensei, you're talking to another sensei, you both have to use formal. And then if you're talking to a gakusei, you use casual, but the gakusei has to use formal.
So good.
And that way, because we don't have any other way to kind of force people to switch back and forth between casual and formal, but I want you guys practicing both. You know, that's a really good method that gets everybody practicing both, because like I've noticed you're really good with casual. You tend to default to casual on phrases that you're comfortable with, but there are times when you should be using formal or you should be using casual, and some of these guys are more comfortable using formal all the time and they forget to use casual.
I'm casual all the time.
Yeah. So
I don't need to be formal with these cretins.
I'm used to
Yojiga.
formal with
Yojiga.
Damn it.
So
I need to practice casual more.
yeah, and then the other thing that we can do when we get into it, because it's coming in the next couple of chapters, we'll be getting into honorifics and humbles. And then we can shift it so that there's 3 levels.
How self-important do we have to be? Can I be like, watakushi?
Yeah, what,
What the
in the
shit?
appropriate circumstances, yeah, so we could switch it so that there's like gakusei, sensei, and I don't know, maybe.
Emperor.
I don't know.
What chapter
I
is
was
that
gonna
when
say,
we
like,
get to the
Ototo or
Oh.
imoto, so that, you know,
Yeah, step it
because
up.
a little kid talking to an older person would use formal, but, you know, like neutral polite to like somebody a college age if they're 10. But then if they're talking to the sensei, they might step it up another notch.
Oh, so
I'll
we can
think
have,
about
like,
what examples work for making, because there are situations where, like, customer and service worker, for example, the service worker is going to use honorifics all the way when talking to the customer, but if they're talking about themselves, they have to switch and use the humble. So that might be what we'll switch to.
Okaku-sama,
Yeah,
and then the whole
Okaku-sama and, you know, omise no hito, something like that. We might switch the tags around a few times and do different things. You know, and then you could have like the sensei who goes to the shop, you know. So we can play around with those some more. But yeah, I thought starting next class, because I thought today would be a good idea to just kind of let everybody
Remember
get.
that we know Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm putting our
Forgot that.
bookmark here to show that we've completed thus far. Okay, so on Thursday, we can work on Roman numeral 2 content. And I know that you 3 often study together in the language lab anyway. Can you kind of talk to Seth about when he might be available, and maybe you guys can kind of help him get caught up on whatever parts of lesson 13.
新しい友達ですね。
Hi.
You can add each other
Yeah.
on how
Yeah, because you said some of the content from lesson 13 you already know, but there's probably some stuff
Well,
that you
I don't
might
know it in
use.
application very well, but I know
Okay.
it because I've heard it a lot.
Okay.
But it's just, I don't know. Some
Yeah,
of
so it's probably a good idea, if you guys could take the, and you probably could use some extra practice on it anyway, so maybe the two of you could, you know, find some time to practice some of those lesson 13 activities, and that would help you get more fluent with it, and it would help you to practice it a little bit
Yeah,
more.
'cause I mean,
And you
technically-
guys could probably use the review, because, you know.
Technically, I skipped like 11, 12,
Yeah.
13 OPI.
Yeah,
今日俺は準備できません。
oh, okay,
Will you talk to
Scott at that.
hi.
Will you talk to Miss Horniona about the tutoring?
Yes, definitely. Okay.
じゃあ
Did you get another fan?
I cracked it all the way across the screen.
Wait,
Uh,
where?
I knew that was the case.
It's the
You know, he,
Oh, the
he talks
glass,
about
the
his
glass.
$40 case.
uh,
This was $10.
Have you dropped your shit?
No, I
I
haven't.
dropped mine
You
up
made
with
something
the
before I came in.
I have a desk.
5 hours this semester, or is that?
Since it's independent study, it's okay with me if we just let you guys use the lab as needed and not necessarily keep
Okay.
track of lab hours. That seemed to work okay for you guys
We
last
told-
time.
Last
yeah,
semester we
we
were
told
like
her
working
that.
30 anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we'll tell her that you said we don't want it.
I think that probably for me, I mean, I don't know how comfortable people are using. I don't know how often people use this, but like I like using Skype for this sort of thing. So,
Yeah, we
Okay.
used Skype before.
yeah,
um,
yeah, if you guys wanna, you know, exchange
No.
Skype info and practice
Skype,
that way, because, you know, if you can't be on campus when they are, then Skype would be a way for you guys to
yeah.
practice together, because it's important to me that you guys get plenty of practice outside of class, especially, you know, squeezing 5 chapters in this semester and trying to, you know, one of my goals, one of my reasons for having cut down the number of chapters I cover in a semester is to get you guys speaking more in Japanese. So, but one of the ways we do that is, you know, getting people to practice outside of class more. And I don't know if I got a chance to tell you yet, but we also have changed the testing format. It's not just a written test anymore, there's also an oral component.
Is it the same way
Test.
that you do it in the lower classes as
Yeah,
well?
so you know,
My
from
sister
Sierra a
tells
little
me
bit.
every once in a while.
Yeah, so it's a similar format to that, but of course with your chapter's content instead of hers. But you can also practice with her, and that'll help her with her content, and it'll help you review something that you might be, you know, rusty on, so.
Yeah, I'm very, very rusty.
Yeah.
Nowadays, very, very busy. Spent the last 3
Yeah.
days working literally the entire day.
Wow.
Where's
Okay.
the service learning? Where you went to?
Building 10, I forget the room number, but if you go to building 10, I think it's on this level, so if you just go across, and look for assigned,
よろしくお願いします。